end of fabricating on this chassis for Project Sacrilege. All we have to do today is put the shock towers on and then tack them, turn the wheel side to side, move it up and down through its travel, through its suspension, and then go ahead and fully weld them in. And then we gotta pull the Cummins out and dismantle all these front components off the front. We have to weld 2 spacers on the front of the K-member or the rack and pinion bolts because the little hard lines for the rack themselves were touching it, so we had to space it out a ½ inch. So Brandon will make those real quick and we'll weld those on. And then we gotta pull the Cummins out, like I said, and then we gotta prep the whole frame for paint. We gotta weld some little spots in here and there and then grind them smooth. And then pretty much just get all the old paint and a little bit of surface rust off the paint, off the frame that's been there since we've been fabricating. So we'll see. It'll probably be a 2-part episode of doing that because it's going to be a lot of work doing that. But let's get right into this, guys, and let's get started. Alright, for this next part here when Brandon's putting on the shock tower, I'm going to leave you with him. I'm going to run over to the teriyaki restaurant and grab some food because I just late morning here and didn't really eat breakfast, just drink a protein drink. And then I'll be right back. So see you guys in a minute.
I hope you find what you've been looking for. Trust me, I don't wanna feel no more.
Are y'all seeing what I'm seeing? There's a turbo right where I want this mount to go. Shoot. Well, dang it, Cletus. Yeah, it's kind of a problem. I can't remember if we made that with those old bag mounts on there or not. Either way, this one should have been the same as the old ones. But yeah. Get out of my way, turbo. Just go away. That ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work at all. Yep. Shoot. I think the old mount actually went a little bit sideways. Like that. Okay, seriously though, there's no room for this thing. Which ain't particularly good. Alright. Well, I have to see what Scott wants to do about that. If he wants to make new towers or if he wants to move the turbo. But if he wants to move the turbo, then we either gotta get rid of that bracket or make a new one. We're doing this side first. Hey, look, that's perfect. Maybe even that. I think it was right on the corner there. Blam. I can weld it to this right there. A little bit of grindy. Honestly, I think that's going to be perfect. That's right where the turbo is on the other side. ain't enough room for everything. Oh, the motor dropped down. Oh. There's part of your problem. The frickin' when we dropped the motor, it made it lower. Well, shoot. Please try to do something productive. If I can get this side to work, we could remake just the one side. We could make it curve out a little bit so it dodges the turbo. We could leave this side the same. Doesn't matter if they're the same or not. But either way, I can grind that off there, grind it smooth. What else was interfering? I think this was interfering just a little bit with where it wanted to mount. I can grind that down a little bit. It's going to mount just on the inside of that. So I can get this all prepped and ready. I can stick the shock on there, or shock mount on this side. I can tack it in place. We can throw the shock in here, throw the bag in here, and make sure this design fits on this side. And we can use the same measurements and everything. Where'd it go? We can use all of this same bit, like where this mounts in relation to this part of the frame. We can do that, and then we can just make this part like come frickin' down this way and make the back swoop in quite a bit so it dodges the turbo or something. But yeah, we'll do a test run with this thing on this side and see how it goes. I'm just gonna put that there for now. And we're gonna do some squish. I said squish. Love nitrogen shocks, but I hate installing them. All right, great, bottom stuck. It's okay, we have pry bars for this. Really? Go in your home.
Okay, Duramax swapped 2008 Cadillac Escalade.
That's what he wants to do?
He sent me pictures of it. It's on.
Never mind, I'm thinking out loud.
Awesome. So I say that all the time. I gotta really come up with another catchphrase. All right, so Brandon's got this pretty much figured out. You know, he said that tack broke off there when we were flex testing it, but that was pretty much bottomed out. The shock was just bottomed out, and he was just pushing up, and the pressure broke the tack. So we're pretty much set. He just needs to do a little grinding on the shock tower to make it fit with the bag mount. Excuse me. And then he'll be able to weld this one fully in, and then we're going to probably take off the turbo on this side. That fan noise I need to work on putting a vent up to that. See how it just, our heater just comes straight out. I need to like make a vent along here with a couple different vents because sick of it doing that. But as you guys can see here with the turbo, like Brandon was saying, the shock mount hits there. So we might change out to a 3rd generation Dodge manifold and bring the turbo more down and back here. And then the secondary turbo will be more up in that position anyways, but it should be up out of the way of the shock tower. So when we move over to this side, we'll probably take these components off. But we'll see here.
There's no need to scream and shout. As far as I can see, now think it's time for you to leave in peace now. As far as I can see, now think it's time for you to leave in peace now. Peace now. In peace now. In peace now. In peace now.
Today's been an unusual day. We started late because we worked late last night. Had a customer come over for at least an hour. Talk to us about a lot of things. So really, it's been, for one, it's been a short day. For two, it's been a little sporadic, and this dually's been throwing me curveballs all day. Curveball. I think I can get it out without taking the wheel off. Putting it in, I really like to have the wheel out of there, but I think getting it off is going to be a little easier. Let's do that. Let's throw some blocks under there. Wherever they fit. I said throw some blocks under here. Thank you. The other side probably needs one. Was that a spider? What was that? A wrench. All right, get back on our merry way. Change your angle. There you go.
So, yeah, we got this looking like it needs to. Bag's happy. Shock's pretty much happy. Brandon's gonna change up the position. You guys can see how tight it is, and that's not even raised up very high. But he's gonna drill another hole in the shock tower here. Bring that, see there's plenty of room. You can bring that hole over, re-drill it. And there's room between this collar of the shock and the shock tower. And that'll get it. There's plenty of room between it and the bag, so it can scoot over and get out of the way of the arm there, so we don't gotta worry about that touching. And then Rick and Morty, just saying, repping, just a good shirt, just saying. And then we'll figure out with the turbos here. We're looking at a couple different twin turbo kits of how they lay out, but we're pretty certain we're just gonna take this off and mount the shock on there, or we're gonna just leave that side off. You know, we'll get the whole frame painted and done, and then when we get it back in here and we pull the cab off again to start to pull the Cummins out to paint it and to disassemble all the parts that will come off and all go to the powder coater, we'll send those at the same time. And then at that point we'll put our twin turbo kit on before we paint it, and then with those on there we can figure out how our shock tower needs to be with the twin turbos in there. You know, it's a $5,000 investment for a set of twins for one of these Cumminses, so that's why I haven't gotten them yet. It sucks to have to do that when we're just in the middle of fabricating and stuff. I want to buy those when we're like ready to drive it. But we'll go ahead and figure out when we get this back in here for body work and doing those steps I just described. We'll try to get the twin turbo set here then, so that way we can get it all together. Probably make a different shock tower than on the driver's side, but that's okay. I mean, come on, it doesn't have to be perfectly symmetrical. It just has to be symmetrical with the geometry. So, all right, this is pretty good for today. It's going to be a two-part episode because it's just a long day working with this stuff. And then tomorrow we'll get this guy fully welded on, and we'll move on to pulling the Cummins out and starting to clean this frame off, man. It's going to be quite the endeavor to get this whole frame cleaned. Like the old paint, a little bit of surface rust. But yeah, we can do it, you know. We got these little crud dusters. I've got red Scotch-Brite. I've got die grinder, flap discs. I've got flap discs, 36 grit flap discs. We'll start with those. I got all kinds of tools to help us do it, so we'll just bring those out then. But all right, guys, we'll see you guys in the morning. Hey guys, so this morning we're gonna get right to this, get this shock tower welded on, and then we'll move on to pulling the Cummins out, and then we gotta start prepping this frame for paint. We'll get it all cleaned off, then we'll mask the garage off, you know, we'll mask the foreigner off, Brandon's toolbox, the welder, the cab, the bed, and the draft will be going that way, so I don't really gotta worry about the tool room and this side of the garage here, so. But alright guys, let's get right into this, get the time lapse going, get that shock tower welded on, then we'll get this Cummins pulled out here. And also, my friend James is coming over to help us out, so that'll be pretty awesome and help us get this massive frame cleaned off. So let's get started.
It's on. Let's get this thing moved over that way, 1/8 of an inch. And then this should be pretty much all good. Then we'll be alright. If I have to, I'll do that second hole drilling thing, but I don't wanna. So let's move it a little bit.
the components off of it here. All the air lines, all the power, or the power cable that went to the starter. Upper and lower control arms. And yeah. So now me and the boys are ready to go ahead and pull this Cummins out, get it set aside here, and we'll start cleaning this frame off. So fire the time lapse back up. Now that we got the Cummins out of here, the frame is pretty much as stripped as it has ever been since we've made the K-member. Brandon's got to make two little pieces to space out the rack and pinion, so he's going to go ahead and get in the engineering PC and get those cut out. And then James is going to get started on cleaning off the frame. We're going to get out the surface conditioners, the red Scotch-Brite, the 36 grit flap discs and all that stuff, and get started cleaning it off. Cool. We got a whole bunch of the frame cleaned off. What? Brandon's afraid of the camera? Gotcha! Anyways, guys, awesome. This is pretty cool. You know, yeah, we weren't able to clean the whole entire frame, but, you know, disassembling all these front end components, you know, take time, and then pulling out the Cummins, but having James over here really helped out. I mean, having an extra help with Brandon, especially pulling out this 1,000-pound Cummins, he really appreciates the assistance, so I'm just too small. But all right, we got 3/4 of the frame cleaned. We got, you know, all the way up to this body mount, or James did on that side, and then Brandon just has to finish the outer layer here. But we'll continue working on that on Monday, guys, and then we'll pretty much just clean the rest of this off. We'll mask off the garage, like I said at the beginning of the video, and then we'll begin to spray it. But until then, ended this 2-day episode of Cougar House Films. Like, pretty much we got the frame completely stripped of all of its components. Brandon was able to make those couple of spacers he needed for the rack and pinion because of the hard lines that went to itself, touched it. So we got those spaced out a little bit. And then our friend James came over to help us, and we got the whole frame, like 3/4 of it, cleaned off and prepped for paint. Next week we'll come in here on Monday morning and we'll finish up the front portion of the frame and then we'll get that we'll get the garage completely masked off, like I said at the beginning of the video, and then we'll move on to paint the frame with our Transtar direct to metal. It's pretty cool. It's primer and it's direct to metal sealer in one can, so that's what we like about that stuff. Then we got some custom colors, epoxy, you know, base coat, real automotive base paint here. So that'll be pretty cool. It'll stick on the frame. It'll stay on there for a really long time, as if we used a spray gun and used the paint booth to bake it on. So hopefully that'll work out pretty good. But alright guys, hey, thanks for watching today. Thanks for your constant support as always. Please drop a comment in the comment box. Let us know what you guys think of the frame and what we've done to it so far. And you guys know the spiel. If you guys like Cougar House Garage, you like what we do, check us out at cougarhousegarage.com. Check us out at Facebook.com/Cougar House Garage. And we are Cougar House Garage on Instagram, guys. Follow along with the projects there. We'll see you in the next episode.
Look at that, huh? That's freaking smooth for a guy that doesn't do this every day. And that was with 36 grit. Most people, this would be all kinds of wavy and divoted. He did a good job. Looks good, genuinely.